Anything we should get into before we begin on the final? Yeah, this is a five-part series. This is a 5 out of 5. Any questions, comments, concerns of the the past four? For those of you that have slept since then, I'll share a little bit about where we have come from to give you an idea of what we covered. So July 1st, our first session, we talked about how to save time with AI. Went through the foundational building blocks of AI in the really the framework that we use for all of our problems that we're trying to solve through AI. And I gave you a little acronym that we continue to reference time and time again. The second week, we talked about how to use AI for follow-up. So I introduced very simple prompts, very simple strategies that you can implement via text, via email, via phone, via everything in a manual way that was free, but also shared with you some tools that could be used that will cost a little bit of money, but in many cases, they're worth it, especially if you're looking for leverage, especially if you're not getting a hold or following up with your leads in any way, shape, or form. That's where that came in. Now, content creation, we took out the credit card once again and gave you the free ways to create content through AI. We used some chat GPT, we used some prompts, we used some images, we used some scripts, we used all that fun stuff. But I also introduced here again paid mechanisms, paid ways to create content leveraging AI. Now, again, there's the tech stack. I think the tech stack that I presented was probably like $300 a month, I believe. I didn't round up, but I didn't do an exact number, but I think it was about $300 a month if you're trying to automate and create content at scale. I believe that that's right. Then last week, which I'll be sharing with you those prompts that I shared with you last week. So last week, I showed you how to automate your showings and how to automate your CMA creation. Now, with the showings, there's a little bit of prep that is involved to get to the correct showings, making your showings a little bit more effective. So there's a little bit of prep work. So hopefully you were in attendance for last week. If not, we did send out the recording. So as a reminder, the recordings are going out to anybody that is enrolled for the what is it? agentfirstsummit.com. That's where we send reminders and where we send recordings. So again, the showings were the prompt, the save GPT, custom GPT, sorry, the custom GPT to automate your showings I'll actually share it again today, and you'll also see it in the recording along with CMA. Now with CMA, again, it's a one-click CMA, but you will need to prep it before you unleash it. It's to get the highest and best use of your time. So I shared with you that you would need the address, of course, in order to create the CMA. And then there's a break where you introduce even more hyper-local data, which is coming from the MLS. Now, if this is all foreign to you, that's okay. What we'll do is we'll send a summary of that one as well, because that was one of the ones that got the most questions. But it also has the most resources for you in all of our sessions up until today. So today we're going to look at how to train our own real estate GPT. So every single one of you is going to have a different GPT, but it's customized, personalized to your business. You're going to have the exact prompt that's going to have absolutely everything. By the time you're done, this is not going to be a thing that you're going to be able to do today. This is going to be something that if you last time I went through this prompt or this flow, I think it was like 3.5 hours. And that was me just kind of copying and pasting from things that I'd already created in the past. So if you're a brand new agent, if you're an agent that's looking to restart, or if you're like an agent that's already closing 10 transactions a month and are trying to get to 20, this is created in such a way to where it meets you where you're at. But first it needs to know where you're at in order to give you the most the most hyper personal business plan. So that is where we're at right now. Now, again, our framework, at any point in time, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or unmute. But the framework that we use for AI is very, very simple. We use the AIM framework, which is where we have an AI first mindset. So we see everything, and I mean everything, as an AI problem to solve. It could be a physical thing, it could be a video thing, it could be an audio thing, it could be an anything, any problem that you have. We're going to see it as an AI problem to solve. That's where we're going to start. Then, second, the only skill set that we need, and it's going to apply in this particular session as well, the only skill set that you're going to need is to ask it to ask you. So essentially asking questions. So interacting with your prompt, with your language model, whatever it happens to be, whether that's Grok, whether it's Claude, whether it's Gemini, whether it's ChatGPT, wherever you're at, does not matter. Interact with that system by asking questions and then taking it to mastery where you make it yours. So you have these duplicatable GPTs that you can use time and time again. So the highest and best use of your time now, in my opinion, is getting to the point of creating your custom GPTs so you can replicate yourself over. Even if you're a party of one, that's okay. You're able to replicate results over and over again. But especially if you have a team that's working with you, you're going to want to introduce that into these GPTs into your life as soon as possible. All right, so that's a brief summary, but any questions before we go into creating our own personal GPT? All right, so let me share this particular, because you're going to need it to get started. Let me share with you this page that we're using right now. All right, so these are the notes that I'm using at the moment. All you have to do is just click on that link and either save it, which I recommend duplicating it, but if you rather save it, that's okay. Once you get it, at the top right hand side, it's going to say duplicate. Please duplicate it into your Notion page. The reason I want you to do that is because at that point, you're going to have this in your own Notion page. So if anything happens to this one, whether it gets locked, whether it gets lost, whether it gets deleted, you have access to it for the rest of eternity. Now, there's going to be 3 prompts, 3 GPTs that you're going to have access to. So last week, as I promised, I was share with you the CMA AI the CMA generator using AI. So here's the hyperlocal CMA. It's the same one that we use within our real estate team here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So the one caution here, and I mentioned this in our previous session, the one caution here is that this has logic that is more specific to a metropolitan area. If you're working farm and ranch, if you're working things that are a little bit further populated areas, if you're working in an area that's less populated, this is not going to be the highest, this is not going to be as accurate. So you're going to want to change the logic, and I shared how to do that in that session. And if we need to relook at that, we can absolutely do that, but just want to give you a little heads up there. This is going to work. If you're in Dallas Fort Worth, you've made it. It's there. But if you're in a rural area, just make sure that you update some of the logic that's included there because it is different. And then the showing AI, that one's pretty standard. So I share with you how to use that. All right, so with that being said, let's click here. It is impossible to get lost. Once you're into this, the link again is in the comment section down below. Copy that Notion page, which you're going to have it here. And all you have to do is click top producer GPT, and we are here. So all of the logic, and it took hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to create the logic that you're seeing. That, well, you won't see it. I'll show it to you on the back end so you see what it actually looks like to create the logic that it covers everything. So the principle, don't click on this quite yet, but the principle that or essentially what I wanted to do with this particular GPT was give you the exact, so training your own real estate GPT, I gave it to you as if you were just starting out or if you're rebooting your business, or if you're at a level where of already, let's call it top producer status, and want it to double. So essentially, all the logic that you are going to see, all of the questions that you're going to get through this GPT are approached from that framework. So it's essentially the leveling up. However, I went in deeper. So I assumed nothing in this particular creation. So you're going to see that if you are a team builder or a broker, or yeah, anybody that's looking to increase, if anybody that's looking to help, let's just say a brand new agent, you could easily send them this GPT and they would make the highest and best use of it of themselves. So there's going to be scripts, there's going to be templates, there's just so much in here. So I'll stop selling and just get started. So is everybody at this starting point? We're not going to go through everything because it's impossible. Again, it's going to take you at least 3 hours to get through everything that you're going to do within this GPT. But what's important is that you have the starting point. So is everybody here? Is everybody at this prompt? Just let me know in the chat, yes or no, and then we can begin. I'll show you what we can do with this. All right, so this one's extremely simple. All you have to do is type in top producer. It is impossible to get lost. So just type in top producer and it's going to start training. So here we go. All right. So the way that I approached it is, again, if you're just starting, if you're hitting the reset button, or if you're trying to get to another level, it is going to meet you where you're at. But first, it needs to know where you're at. So welcome to your real estate reset. This is going to be a total transformation of your business from the ground up using first principles. So we arrive at the first principles. We're at the point where we're not assuming anything. Everything is going to be created from scratch, personalized to you, your market, your experience, your know-how. So first off, we're going to get started with the professional background and personal information. So this, we're not going to be spending the time to go through this, but what I want to show you is that it's first going to intake a little bit about your experience, your relationship with real estate. So this is where it sets the tone. If you're a brand new agent, most of this is going to be guesswork. Most of this is going to be, I don't know. Most of this is going to be zero. Like, I don't have any years licensed in real estate. I don't have any transactions done. So it's taking this information, and that's the way that the logic was built in the background. It's taking this information and it's going to take that into consideration in future modules, which this is just one section. I believe when it's all said and done, give me a second. When was this? I want to say it's like 12 modules back when. I'm not going to find it. I believe it's like 12 modules. So this is module 1. So as you can see, it's going to probably take a little bit of time, but it goes faster. It goes a lot quicker. And some of these modules, it will just be asking you questions. So it's super, super simple for you to answer these questions. It's prompting you. In some of these modules, it's basically just going to ask you to review, hey, this is what I created for you. What do you think? That's going to ask for basic demographic information. This is the same thing that you fill out at the doctor's office when you're typing in well, actually, you're not going to be typing your weight or anything like that, but it's going to give you just basic information that you need to ask, that you need to answer. And then it also, here again, is another part where it takes you into consideration. So, what hours are you most productive? That's a super important one that's going to help drive its suggestions moving forward. How do you best, are you more of the phone person? Are you more of the techie person? What's your preferred learning style? Do you want to do more videos? Do you want to do more checklists? Do you want to do step-by-steps? Like, this will tailor it to your specific needs. Now, once you go through this, which is going to take you a few minutes, it's not going to be all that quick. Once you go through this particular section, it's going to give you a one-pager summary to make sure that it nailed your specific profile. Does that make sense? All right, so I see, sorry, I just saw no. Leanna, did you get it? It's in the chat. Let me see. Oh, that's not what I want. Carmel, are you there? Can you drop the Notion? I'm getting a little bit lost here. So Carmel's going to help us out with copying and pasting the Notion. Thank you. All right. So this is just the starting point. I'm gonna go through the rest of the modules. I'm not gonna take the time to fill every single one out, but I just wanted to give you an idea. Great job. Can you fill in sample data to the questions above so we can move on to the next module?
Is it going? I don't want it there. No.
Barbara, do you have a question or do we need to go to mute?
Oh, sorry. I thought I was muted.
All's good. All's good. I just know accidents happen, so I'd rather ask. All's good. Um, all right. Can you fill in sample data to the questions above so we can move on to the next module? Now, of course, this is just for illustrative purposes, so you see this at work. So think of this as your executive summary. I'll zoom out for a quick second. Think of this as the executive summary to your business. So, of course, every person's information is going to be different, but I like the fact that it gave us some very relatable experience here. That I'd guess that based off of the folks that I see and know here, several of you fit this profile. So it's good to go at least from that standpoint. But of course, you're going to introduce your own experience. But what we're after here is after each module, with the exception of I think two. I'm trying to remember, it's been a minute. After this module, give me a second. It's going to bother me. After this module, how many sections do we have? Okay, I said 12. So 10 sections. After each module, there's going to be a break. And as you saw here, there's a pause where it says, drop your answers below, and we'll move on to your one-page summary. After each module, there's going to be a point break. So there's going to give you an opportunity for you to give it feedback. It's going to be an opportunity for you to play around with, think of this as a real estate coach that's way smarter than any real estate coach out there. You're going to be able to provide as much feedback as possible. So before you move on to the next module, as opposed to working on false premise on the false data or information that you don't necessarily agree with, you reset, you recalibrate real quick, and then you move on to the next module. But anyway, let's continue. So the agent snapshot, this is you, the role, experience. It is your business profile. You're a full-time solo real estate agent with 3 years of experience, productivity and tools. You're most productive in the mornings, personal life and priorities. You're 32, married with no kids, strengths and success makers. You've already got 8 results, blah, blah, blah. So this just gives you a good framework to start with. Now we need to get started on the real estate business foundation. This is mainly you telling it about you. Now we need to start building the foundation to our business. Awesome. Let's lock in your real estate business foundation. This section defines why you're doing this, who you're going to serve, and what makes you the go-to choice. So this is oftentimes where a lot of us miss it, myself included. So I am I'm not that great at getting into the why of things a lot of the time, so I just do things because I just do them. This gives you an opportunity to take a bit of a reset, a little bit of a reset to your business and really start from first principles, why you're doing real estate. Now, this isn't just for the hokey part of it. Like, this isn't just going to be a rah-rah thing. This is going to help frame the following prompts, which are going to talk about creating your social media profiles. It's going to talk about creating your website. It's going to talk about the email drips and follow-up campaigns. And this is building everything. Again, we start from the first principles, and this is where we're at. So why real estate? Defining your ideal client. So you get clarity on who it is that you're serving, who it is that you're speaking to, because the GPT is going to take into consideration for the future modules, where the writing is going to change, the scripts that it gives you are going to change, the templates that you're going to use are going to change. Just everything gets tailored to you. Everything gets tailored to your specific needs, who you're trying to target, the area, and everything in between. So define your ideal client. So you're gonna have the questions that you need to answer there. Graphic or niche focus. Let's define your zone of genius. So essentially, we need to look at where we're gonna market. So this goes into the cities, the geography, if you're going after new construction, if you're going after probate, if you're going into whatever first time home buyer, whatever the case may be, and then your value proposition. So you get an opportunity to brag about yourself quite just a little bit, so it can introduce you to the world. So you're going to see another breakpoint here is drop your answers in, and I'll turn them into your email signature, your social media bios, your branding guide, 5 intro social media posts, and then 5 scripts to launch your reset. So you're introducing some information here. So here again, let me just copy and paste. I'll just have that handy real quick. So you see it in action. It's going in and filling in why real estate, your ideal client profile. Again, this is super important because it's going to dictate and it's going to set the tone on how it's going to write for you, how it's going to create video assets for you, how it's going to create images for you. The niche that you're going to be focused on and where you're actually practicing real estate. So it goes on to say Sacramento, 2 unique strengths. I relocated to Sacramento myself and know the transition in and out. I simplify the process with clean systems, great communication, and clear game plan. I mean, it gives you some very good options here. Again, this is all going to be specialized for you, but here you see, next I'll use this to build your email, blah, blah. We already talked about that. And then it gives you your branding kit. So here you can just copy this and go to your Gmail settings and put this in. So Jaime Resendez, Realtor, eXp Realty, Sacramento, helping Bay Area buyers find their space in Sacramento. If you don't like that, you can talk to it. I'll show you the space to do that. And then it gives you a very simple email signature template to just go copy and paste. Social media bios, Instagram, put that. Facebook, put that as your bio. Sacramento, put that in your bio. If you're a TikToker, ask it to include a TikTok bio for you. Mini branding guide. Bay Area transplants and first-time buyers ages 20 to 40, mostly couples and young families. Calm, knowledgeable, friendly, empowering, never pushy, practical and modern. Core message: I make real estate feel less overwhelming by giving my clients clear plans, honest answers, and calm guidance every step of the way. That sounds like an ideal, phenomenal YouTube intro if I've ever heard one. Right? So this is, and we're going to talk about YouTube in following modules. And then it gives you the social media post to introduce yourself into the world. So post 1, post 2, post 3. So new chapter, why I chose real estate, who I help, my mission, let's connect. So it's just in sequence. So this could be your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. another module. It'll give you the posting schedule, not for this particular one, but just the one to follow moving forward. Video launch. So recording a few reels, it gives you the script. All right. Questions, comments, concerns so far?
Jaime, just from like a total newbie kind of question, when I'm answering the questions, do I cut and paste, I guess, the question into the box and then write my answer? Like, does that make sense?
It makes sense. So let's talk about this. So let's go back up and talk about it asked me the following one. It says why real estate. So I would actually I'm sorry. It goes why real estate. So if I was going to answer this, here's how I would do it. I would type in one, why real estate, and then I would just start typing whatever it is. And I would put shift enter, and then I would go to two, define your ideal client, and then just start typing. Now that's if you wanted to keep everything in one response. You don't have to. You could do one, why real estate, then type in your answer, press enter, and then would say, thank you for this information. Let's move on to the next one.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great question.
I'm struggling a little bit.
What's up?
When you heard me earlier, I didn't know I was on mute, but I was struggling. So I thought I could figure it out. So when I am trying to go to the link, it only gives me the ability to follow the link. It's not allowing me to copy and paste it, and it's taking me to Edge, and Edge is freezing. So I've had to keep getting out of it. So I've actually made no progress this whole time. Could somebody like email me the link, or I don't know, but from this chat, I can only follow it, not copy it.
Okay, just here's the prompt, the direct prompt, so you can get caught up.
Okay.
So once you click on that, then put the on your browser, just put
Wait, hold on. So you put it back in the chat?
yeah, just click on that chat.
Okay. See if it's taking me to Edge again. Yeah, see, it's taking me to Edge, and Edge is freezing. So I'm trying to stay in Google if possible, or Chrome.
Then that would be a setting. Can you copy the link or open in browser of your choosing?
No, that's where I'm struggling. And whenever I click on it, I don't get the option to copy it, only to follow it through the chat. Open
Got
link
it.
is all that I get. So I suppose
Understood.
I don't know if someone can like email it to me or like something.
Carmel, can you message Barbara? And Barbara, actually, if you want to
Sorry.
drop it into the chat,
Yep.
Carmel, could you
Thank
email
you.
Barbara right now, that link to this Notion, please?
Thank you guys.
No, thank you. All righty. Any other questions before we keep going? Okay. So complete business foundation reset. Are you ready to move on to section 3, the lead generation system? Yes, ready for section 3. All right, this is where we lock into how you'll consistently attract and convert leads based on off of your strengths, your tools, and your market. And that's super important because oftentimes you see, well, especially I'm guilty of this because I make a lot of YouTube videos, but you'll see like the top 3 strategies to generate business right now, right? So just and in reality, that's those 3 might not be ideal for you, right? Might not be ideal for how you communicate, might not be ideal for what you're willing to do for your business and all that fun stuff. So this is it's designed to take your information that you already fed it and ask you some clarifying questions. So the first one was the first prompt here was uh, coded, or I don't want to say coded because it makes it sound way fancier than it is. But one of the things that this is designed to do is to ask you questions to get a better feel for the type of lead generation that would make sense for you. So it doesn't just give you, hey, these are the 3 things that are working right now. Make Instagram reels, make some YouTube videos, and work your sphere of influence. That's pretty general. That's pretty generic. Anyway, do you enjoy working with your sphere and past clients? Are you comfortable calling leads? Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, once we answer these questions, please answer these with short replies, yes or no, preference, blah, blah, blah. And I'll recommend your top 3 lead sources, 1 to 2 prospecting methods, 3 lead generation magnets, which I'll help build one for you, a 3-month content strategy, optional, a video strategy if you're open to video. So again, I'm not pigeonholing you into one set way to build your business, because some of you have built massive businesses through some other vehicles, other modalities that I would never touch. So that's what we would be doing. So here we go. Oops. I'll go back up here and get that. And I'm going to go a lot faster now because we're running out of time. And I think that you understand the framework that we're going to be going through, or that you would be going through when you set this up. Carve yourself, and I'll show you how to pause it so you can come back to it later. But carve out again, and I was really booking it. I mean, absolutely hauling butt, and I got it done in 3.5 hours. It's gonna make this a business, like treat this as a business planning meeting, but way, way better than anything you've ever seen. Because this is personalized to you. All right. So based off of these responses that were given as a sample, it's recommending that we do open houses, we do Instagram DM funnels, and do referral network and sphere of influence. So we're not going to go through these, but if at any point in time, if you need clarity on how to unlock this particular lead generation source, you can ask it. However, there is a prompt later on that will actually give you all the scripts, give you everything based off of what you replied. Recommended prospecting strategies, do the open houses, and then do DM outreach campaigns. 3 lead magnet ideas, Bay Area relocation guide, first time buyer checklist, how much can I afford in Sacramento? Quiz, use Google form to qualify leads playfully. I'll build a sample lead next. Let's go with relocation guide. So right up here, and it creates your relocation guide right now. And it gives you the lead generation strategy. So remember when it said, where did it say that? Your Instagram DM funnel? It even gives you the call to action. DM me relocation on Instagram. Then it goes on to create I know it can get overwhelming. I know everything is, it's even better than copy and paste. You just respond. But this is what it's responding to. It gave us a 3 lead generation sources, prospecting methods, lead magnet ideas, which is what we talked about with the relocation guide. Now it's going on to do the 3-month content strategy, and it might even give you a video strategy if you're open to it. So this is 3-month content strategy. Month 1, awareness and authority, video, post, email, CTA. Month 2, blah, blah, blah. It gives you the scripts that you use whenever somebody responds to your DMs or sends you a DM. It gives you the weekly schedule, which we're going to build on very soon in a more direct way. I'm going to go a lot quicker now. Yes, section 4. Follow up and nurture. This is where it gives you the copy and paste scripts and templates. All right, so here are 3 practices. So anyways, it's going to ask you for your CRM setup right now. Do you have Follow Up Boss? Do you have KB Core, which is now Bold Trail? Do you have a Google Sheet? You can put that if you want. Like, what is your CRM? What are you using right now? It meets you where you're at. So it lets you know, like, hey, based off of if you If you tell it KB Core, it will go and pull into the KB Core database or Bold Trail database and give you some highly functional practices or tips and tactics that you can use with the system that you currently have. The follow-up to your open house leads that you get, to your Instagram DMs that you get, and the referrals that you get. The 7-day sequence. So the way that I programmed it was once you get a lead, you are trying your hardest to convert that lead within the first 7 days. So the further you get away from somebody opting into your funnel, whether it's a comment, whether it's a Facebook ad, whether it's an open house, the further that you get away from that touch point, the less likely that you're going to actually convert somebody. And I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but that's the logic that we built into this. So in the first 7 days, we are going strong. We are absolutely going after these folks to try to convert them. So I gave you a 7-day follow-up sequence, but also at minimum, the logic that we built in here is a 12-month nurture plan. You can change it over to a weekly nurture plan. But this is the plan that we have listed out here. Any questions, comments, concerns? Now you're going to notice that most of this pause is not necessarily asking much from you. This is basically just voluntolding you. This is you taking the information that you've given it and it's spitting back out something actionable that you can use without much input. Now, if you are wanting some feedback or give it some feedback on, hey, I don't agree with your 12-month nurture plan, can we spend the next couple of minutes hammering that out? All right, so now I'm going to go super quick. Welcome to Conversion and Consultation. This is where we turn interest into signed clients through confident presentation and smooth conversations. So you get the buyer consults, scripts, and toolkits. So it gives you the framework to use during your phone call. So you don't have to guess what you're going to say to your next lead. Same thing with your seller. It'll give you, if you've never done listing presentation, or let me rephrase that, if you have, think back to that first time that you went through those doors, how nervous as heck you were. Because I was like, what the hell do I do? So this will give you a framework to follow, walk the property, ask timing, motivation, concerns, present your pricing strategy, blah, blah, blah. Pre-appointment checklist. So make sure that you have this done. Post-consultation follow-up templates, buyer and seller workflow. Now this will actually create a workflow for you here in a little bit and a checklist that you can use. We're going fast like I promised. So we just came from conversion, right? We just came from the conversion. Now we have the leads that have turned into clients. Now we're doing the work. Now we're doing the showings. Now we're presenting the offers. Now we're making money. Buyer showing strategy. So before the showing, during the showing, after the showing, writing the offer, the showings went great. And in here, where are we? Let me see if it does it real quick. Okay. Buyer showing strategy, writing the offers, offer presentation, when you're speaking with the agent, negotiation framework, bonus, 5 questions to ask listing agents. If you're on the buyer side, what's the seller's ideal timeline? So if you're being asked to call the agent, it gives you a script, but it also lets you know what questions are actually meaningful to ask. Now, bonus offer checklist. Now, this is where it's going to, that's your complete showing. This is the following right here. Ready for section 7. I know I'm going ultra fast, but this is where you are creating your own real estate business by just following these prompts. Here's your pre-listing checklist. So you got the listing. It gives you buyer and seller because I don't want to do a buyer one and a seller one. That was just too much. But assuming that you have the listing here, it gives you the checklist so you don't skip one, the pricing strategy. So it has it right here. Now, it also, unfortunately, it doesn't link. I haven't found a way to link it, but the hyperlocal CMA, you have access to that already. That is this. So if you want to use that CMA, you're able to do it, which it'll give you the comps to use. Your listing marketing plan, your seller communication plan. And every once in a while, it'll do one of these off the cuff random poorly formatted points. It's just, I mean, it does so many things right. We can forgo a formatting error every once in a while. All right. Any questions on this so far? Or we're gonna keep going. Contract to close. So now we've we've converted leads into clients. So we're working with the clients. We're having listings, we're having buyer appointments. It gives you both. It first went through the buyer journey, then it showed you the seller journey. Now it's going through actually, yeah, it went through the buyer journey and the seller journey. But once you get under contract, it gives you the contract to close workflow that you can use. Now, I know that everybody's in a different state. So the way that you make this specific to you and your brokerage is by asking the broker to give you the workflow for your specific market, for your specific brokerage. Every single brokerage should have this. So if you're in Texas, you would ask, obviously for the Texas one, depending on where your brokerage is. Mississippi, Florida, like this is giving you a general overview of what it's still doing California because that's the framework that you've been working on from beginning. But if you have additional things that your brokerage is asking for, all you have to do when you get to this point is upload it. It asks you to create a vendor list, which is going to be used as a referral system that will, I think it triggers like 3 months after the fact. I forget exactly when. This has been a minute. Transaction tracking system, blah, blah, blah. Here's your transaction operations toolkit. So here's your workflow, contract to close. So it gives you a little checklist. You can turn this into a visual if you want. It gives you a copy and paste template that you can use for Google Sheets, Notion, your CRM, so you can easily find them. I'm telling you, there was no part of your real estate business that was skipped. Now that you have clients that are closing or that have closed, it's time to get some referrals. It talks about the closing day, talks about what to follow up with 1 month after the fact, talks about what to do 6 months after the fact, 1 year after the fact. It'll ask you to schedule or pre-schedule on your CRM so you don't miss it. Or if you have Google, it'll ask you to go to your Google Gmail, go to your Gmail and schedule it to send out a year from now. It does all this cool stuff. It gets you to ask for testimonials. It gives you referral and repeat business campaigns. So here you don't have to miss asking for that referral. And it gives you the what to do after the fact. Now that it has everything input about you, and again, you're going to be inputting your own information in here as much as you can. It's going to give you your schedule for the week. So you already put it you already put how many transactions you've had in the past. You've talked to it about what you ideally like to focus on. So it gave you lead generation strategies, it gave you scripts, it gave you follow-up, it gave you workflow. It also knows your goals. So what it's taken now is taken all that information and presented a very workable schedule for you. Because you already put when you work best. You already put what hours you're available. You already put if you're part-time or full-time. So it's not going to give you a full-time framework knowing that you're putting 10 hours a week. It takes that into consideration. It gives you budgeting and gives you budgeting recommendations, a coaching plan, a day one sheeter. That's really the most important thing, in my opinion. This is something that once you have, this can be overwhelming. I make no bones about that. Like it can be and is overwhelming to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, I asked it to get us a 1-day sheeter that you can look at every single day. So this is going to give you something that go off of that you could fill out every single day so you don't miss out on something that is crucial for your business. Now you can do a PDF off of this. You can do a Notion copy and paste. Wherever you are working, this is what you're going to ask it for. You could ask it for a Google Doc. You could ask it for, I mentioned Notion. That's where we play all the time. But you can really transform this into whatever you want it to be. Questions, comments, concerns on this one?
This is incredible, Jaime. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did everybody get the prompt? I'm gonna make sure everyone has the prompt because that's gonna be what dictates everything. And all you have to do is click on this. And it already has every part of your business. You just need to input what's important for your business and your own personal information. It'll go into the branding. It'll really, if you notice, it took you from the very beginning, goes into how to market yourself, goes into how to gain the business, it shows you how to convert the business, how to work the business, how to nurture the business, and also have duplicatable, replicatable nurture systems so you can grow. Now, at any point in time, you can take a section off of this and have somebody introduce an assistant into your business. Now, several of our team members are on our call today. They have received versions of this on their on in their training and also on their daily task. And D, what's up?
When you're doing a recap of each week's video, when you're putting the links in Slack, is it someplace in Notion and what do you call it, in Agent First portal, or in Slack where these links are, just in case you don't have access to it when you're live on the Zoom? Sorry.
I don't believe so, but if you ever need a link, just message Carmel. She has them.
Okay, no problem.
Cool. All right, crew. Well, that concludes our 5-part series. Hopefully you feel better equipped to leverage AI for your business. Now, there's so many different things that you can do, but don't get overwhelmed. Don't get into study mode and never get to the implementation. Get to the implementation as quickly as you can, and then backtrack. Go automate some things. So there's some really cool things that we have on the back end where we are able to take in just an obscene amount of data into one focal point, have it jumbled up in the washer machine and then produce something completely radically new. There's a lot of automations that you can do in the inner before you get to that level. So if you have any feedback or if you have any questions or want to see other topics that have to do with AI or video, by all means, please let me know. But outside of that, I think we're good to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Jaime. This is an incredible amount of work. That's amazing.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
One question or something for future. Is there a good resource on how to build custom GPTs? I just learned about like, hashtag rules with working these. It seemed like they have their own subset of prompting language in order to build these, but I haven't come across a resource besides maybe Paperless Agent has something out there. But just wondering if you got anything, or maybe that's a future one. But that's a rather technical dive versus normal prompting.
Yeah. It's actually not as technical as you might think. However, if you follow the framework of asking the GPT to ask you, that's that'll get you exactly what you're looking for. So in the recap, so what we'll do is, I know I forgot to record one session. I think that was the second one, but in the recap in our email later on, I think we send those out tomorrow. I might be wrong, Carmel. I think it's tomorrow at noon. But in our recap, the first section, I share how to create custom GPTs. I share that exactly.
Okay. Yeah, it's the rule. The rules was something I had never seen before.
Yeah.
So I got inside of an advanced one.
Cool.
Thanks.
Cool. Alrighty, crew. Well, I appreciate you. That is it. See you next Tuesday and have a great one. Bye.